Our thanks to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. We believe that having access to mental health options is a really important lifeline any time of year, especially in the dominating seasons when we're shown what we should be, but we're not. No matter your job, you should consider therapy. It's a powerful tool for any and everyone who wants to explore their thoughts, feelings, and experiences in a safe environment. That's why BetterHelp is sponsoring this video, because everyone needs that space to navigate the ups and downs of life. BetterHelp makes doing all of that easier than ever. No waiting rooms, no awkward small talk. You can talk to your therapist by phone, video, or message, and if it's not the right fit, you can switch therapists anytime at no extra cost. If you've ever felt like you're just supposed to deal with whatever life is throwing at you, maybe it's time to try something different. Head to betterhelp.com/cinemasins and get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/cinemasins. Who the f would steal range balls? Lyrics in the chorus of the song currently playing are, "A little bit is better than nada. Sometimes you want the whole enchilada." If you're trying to convince someone to accept what they can get, why even bring up the idea that they could have everything? Contradicting your own lyrical prose just to get two words together that rhyme will always get you a sin around these parts. Why would you build your driving range so that any customers after 4 p.m. are so blinded by the sun they can't see where their golf balls end up?
First bug to get fried wins $2. I get this green one right there.
Bug zapping betting is flawed for a few reasons, but I can't even figure out how Romeo knows which bug is the green one. When we get to see the zapper up close, all the bugs look exactly the same color and shape.
A man's driving down the road with his son, and he gets in a crash.
Not the doctor is his mother riddle. That riddle is older than Kevin Costner.
Well, you might try being saddled sometime. Smell of leather, sting of a whip.
I am not the horse in this scene.
Excuse me.
Why the hell is Roy standing that close? He knows how a golf swing works, and it's not that he's checking her out, he's staring at the ball.
That's a pretty girl, is such an ugly swing.
One thing's got nothing to do with the other. Also, if she had a pretty swing, she probably wouldn't be there taking lessons from a washed-out driving range golf pro, so what was he expecting?
Some say it's because I never finished anything in my life.
No one would say that who had ever been in the proximity of both you and beer.
The driver, the number one wood.
Well, this is metal.
Yeah, well, woods are metal. Don't worry about it.
Woods being metal is exactly the kind of thing we worry about over here, Roy. Actually, we send them, but there's also some worry involved. Also, since we're going to find out that Molly is dating one of the best golfers in the world, how does she know absolutely zero about the basics of golf?
Well, I always say quit on a good shot.
She's taken 4 swings. What the kind of golf lesson is this?
You wouldn't mind paying me in cash? There's a little situation I'm dealing with the IRS.
Does Roy think the IRS has planted microphones in the trees? Why is he whispering when they are the only 2 people out there?
What do you mean I should try being saddled sometime?
The idea that Roy didn't know what Molly meant by that is the most preposterous thing that happens in this movie. A movie in which, I remind you, a washed-up golfer running a shitty driving range almost wins the U.S. Open. If West Texas is as hot as I've been led to believe, keeping the suit coat on while driving is ludicrous.
Hell, I'll be a goddamn birdie-making machine for you out there.
Hell, I didn't mean I wanted you to play with me. I want you to caddy for me.
It's pretty ridiculous that David didn't lead with the fact that he wanted Roy to caddy for him. David beating around the bush about this feels like it's more for the audience to be surprised than a natural form the dialogue would take. David has no issue being blunt and putting Roy in his place for the rest of the movie.
Hell, I can't bring a guy in off the street to play in my tournament.
It's a charity tournament. It's super common for friends and acquaintances of pros or high-dollar donors to play in such tournaments.
Yeah, we'll take the job.
Great, Roy, but I'm just going to leave without giving you any specifics of when you need to be there because it's so much more dramatic that way.
I had to, partner. I mean, your damn caddy came by and told me he'd get on the green from here.
I know it's a charity tournament and things would be a bit relaxed, but I don't know why the movie gives Roy so much shit for not being able to stay under control when a golfer with the experience Stadler has can't shake off a boast from a caddy. Why is Romeo caddying for Craig Stadler? Stadler has his own caddy. The only reason David chose Roy for this tournament was Roy's intimate knowledge of the course they are playing. He's not out here granting favors.
I got a bet with Mickelson McCoy that your caddy can knock it on from here.
This would never happen, but it's wild that in a foursome that contains Phil Mickelson, it's Craig Stadler that wants to wager.
Yeah, the $250,000 purse has just gotten a little bit bigger.
$250,000? Earlier, David told Roy.
I put together this little tournament with an elite field of players and a $500,000 purse.
Where did the other half of the money go?
He's got 240 yards. He's got a national television audience.
Why is a charity event getting a national television audience? There doesn't even seem to be enough people live at the event to earn this a national TV airing.
Yeah, you. Come here.
If you're going to pull a fan out of the gallery to caddy for you, why on earth would it be this guy?
5 in a row out of bounds. Till you finally pulled it off and tapped it in for a crowd-pleasing 13. when a 12 would have got you on the tour.
Tin cup shadowing. I know better than to expect good food at a strip club, but a $4 steak is basically advertising that you serve food poisoning.
I only got one rule, and that's never bet money that you don't have on a dog race with an ex-girlfriend who happens to be a stripper.
That is so weirdly specific. I think I'd rather be watching a movie about Romeo's story that led to him having to make that rule. Doreen says the driving range is worth $10,000 and Roy still owes her $2. And then we see him pawn his golf clubs, but later when he buys them back, it's only for $400. So if he doesn't have the $2,000, why would a guy like Roy pawn his golf clubs if it wasn't going to get him the full amount he owes? Wouldn't he just keep being Roy for another however many weeks it takes for Doreen to get really upset about being paid?
She's been here a while.
Roy can't even get there on time for a golf lesson with a woman he is immensely attracted to. The movie's going to have them end up together, but he in no way earns it.
Former Paramount once described my fluid sense of time to being born under the sign of Pisces.
Aries, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, and Sagittarius are the ones who are always late to things. Pisces is actually one of the more dependable signs.
Remember, this game's about trust and touch.
I get that Roy says inappropriate things at times, but now the movie is making him a creep who lays unwanted hands on women. We're supposed to like Roy at least a little, right?
Take her to Miami for the Doral. How am I supposed to compete with that?
You're not. She's his girlfriend. You're not in competition. He's already won.
Man, she must think I'm such a nothing. Such a loser.
What evidence to the contrary have you presented her?
It's open. Anybody with a 2 handicap or better's got a shot at it. You just got to get through a local and sectional qualifier.
Which makes me wonder why Roy hasn't tried to get in the open before now. Sure, he's lazy and feels defeated, but considering how easily Romeo got him to warm up to the idea, I can't figure out why this thought hasn't crossed his mind before today. I feel like Roy has experienced powerful boners prior to Rene Russo, so I don't think that's the answer.
Forget all about the Winnebago you lost to me.
This guy previously lost the Winnebago in a bet with Roy and is still stupid enough to take this bet?
Yeah, I'll call the INS on you, you little
That's all kind of bullshit. Okay, look, I know Roy is really good at golf, but being good at golf does not mean you are really good when golfing with gardening gear and equipment from other sports. The right way to write this scene is to have him use only one club, such as a 7-iron, for the entire round. But the movie is saving that for a midpoint conflict later on, so they had to go with this completely unbelievable scenario we see before us. He's not even golfing with the bat and the shovel. He's picking up the ball and throwing it in the air and then hitting it.
Not all my thinking occurs below the belt.
Bull Durham, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, The Bodyguard, and Sizzle Beach, USA have all entered the chat.
No, Roy, I will not give you time off to go win the Open.
And yet Roy will do just that and face zero consequences from Doreen. She even shows up later to cheer him on.
Now, you're doing a natural thing, and it's really sweet.
If we're looking for unnecessary scenes to trim in this 2-hour, 15-minute movie, may I suggest the scene where a fringe side character finishes interacting by phone with our main character, but we linger on her to watch her reprimand one of her stripper employees who isn't dressed and styled gaudily enough.
You shrink.
You super do, but not for the ulterior motives you have.
Wait. You don't have any inner demons.
This is bad therapy. She's known him all of 2 10-minute golf lessons. She has no clue what might be in his past. Just because he's a boozing Lothario with no ambition doesn't mean he doesn't have inner demons.
Maybe if you shared your heart with this woman, took her out to dinner.
Molly is suggesting that Roy pursue a woman who is already with someone else. Molly is a terrible therapist.
I think I'm in love with you.
After 2 10-minute golf lessons?
Most women, I'm thinking about how to get in their pants from day one, but with you, I'm just thinking about how to get in your heart.
That is 100% false. I was there the first 2 golf lessons, and you were eye-f***ing her both times. And the second time, you started touching her shoulder and her waist like a f***ing creep. You were absolutely thinking about getting into her pants.
I didn't know you were talking about me, Roy.
But didn't she have any clue that was a possibility? He was trying to grab her ass during the golf lesson just a day or 2 before.
You should know that your boyfriend, he hates old people, he hates children, and he hates dogs.
Not only has bad-mouthing a girl's current boyfriend to her face never worked out for me or anyone I know or anyone I've ever even heard of, it's also a dick move. I don't care how bad you like her or want her, she's not on the market. And the fact that Roy continues to behave as though she is should be a red flag to her about him, but instead it's treated as endearing.
That broad's out there crying still, right? In the exit room. You're still in the exit room.
Kevin Costner has some amazing line deliveries in this movie, some of the best of his career.
I am really flattered that you asked me out.
That actually seems impossible.
Well, I think that I can help you with the mental aspects of the game.
Offering your therapy services to a patient that is admitted to wanting to bone you. Like I said before, Molly is a terrible therapist.
I find him mildly attractive when he's obnoxious and arrogant like this.
Why is she sharing this aside with Romeo? Why his character?
I want the course record.
There has never been a movie that better illustrated Aesop's fable about the dog and his reflection than this moment. Roy stared at his win and rejected it in favor of the pursuit of an even bigger win, and he deserves his impending downfall. What's that? He doesn't have a downfall after this? He wins? F***ing hell.
You're not gonna listen to me, are you?
Sure, Roy is being a bit of an ass here, but Romeo has to know this isn't the time or place to have this discussion. Either Romeo is the sensible, intelligent one, or he's not. Movie can't seem to decide.
Anybody want to bet me I can't par in with a 7-iron?
Roy will go on to finish this tournament with a low enough score to qualify for the sectionals with only a 7-iron at his disposal. And that's enough of the bullshit to award a sin. Also, is a golfer trying to place bets on himself during a tournament not a penalty? This movie has more montages than Rocky IV.
You all right?
He's not, and considering Roy had friends in better shape to carry a golf bag across a course than Earl, it makes no sense that he chose Earl, other than he needed the movie to have a stupid see how out of shape this guy is joke. This movie is 37% Texas road signs.
You're back. Huh? You're my man.
Unnecessary and short conflict between Roy and Romeo was unnecessary and short.
Am I special?
Well, if you can remove the sexual overtones and add a golf theme.
Feeling the need to have sexual overtones removed from a conversation because you're a man talking to another man.
Hello? Is anybody home?
Not getting an answer from anyone in the residence, but opening the door and walking in anyways.
My God. Roy.
Dr. Griswold.
How did he not hear her? She was talking through a screen door barely 20 feet from where he's standing.
I got the shanks.
Well, are you taking penicillin?
Does she really think the shanks is an STD? She's a doctor, right?
You're with the wrong guy.
I really hate that movies make it seem like this behavior is not only okay, but that it's romantic. But in real life, this is some creepy stalker shit. This is the way the guy talks who eventually mails you a doll made out of his own hair.
I don't have a car.
She seriously didn't realize she would be in that predicament once she dropped the car back off to Roy? This f***ing guy.
To me, it's the Mississippi, the Rio Grande,
Rio Grande.
Point is that David is there for me.
Look, I don't like how Roy is actively trying to ruin your relationship, but I'm not going to stand idly by while you act like a man that travels 4 days a week, 35 weeks a year for his job is there for you, okay? Even though Molly just said,
I think you better take me home.
we don't have the money in our budget to build another set, so we'll just pretend she lives in her office. What kind of driving range has a max distance of 225? Roy himself hits a 7-iron over 230 yards. They just yada-yada over a 24-hour drive. I love that Roy wasn't able to fix his shanks leading up to the U.S. Open, even with Romeo and Molly's help. But here, on the driving range of the first day, he's going to fix it permanently in about 2 minutes by just changing his attire to make himself look silly. And it's worth at least 10 cents because all golfers who ever had the shanks before are looking at this right now and bubbling over with rage about how easily this movie hand waves them shanks away for our hero.
Stick it. I look like a fool.
It's weird that Roy all of a sudden cares about his appearance because he sure didn't for the first 83 minutes of this movie.
Because you're not thinking about shanking. You're not thinking about the doctor lady.
Honestly, Romeo should give up caddying and go into mental health. I'm not even joking.
I think you ought to get drunk.
Get drunk.
Yeah. You always play better when you're wasted.
Right, and wasted means drunk. Drunk means wasted. But getting drunk now means that in the morning, he won't be drunk or wasted anymore. He will be hungover. If you wanted him to play wasted, you should have set the alarm for about 5 a.m. and had him pound a few shots. Also, suggesting an athlete completely dehydrate themselves the night before walking 7,000 yards in the sun. I think Romeo's the worst caddy ever. Even worse than that pale kid in Happy Gilmore, to whom Happy said,
Where were you on that one, dipshit?
You should have set an alarm.
they didn't set an alarm?
Part of the day. Be humble.
Misquoting Kendrick Lamar.
David Sims is the first-round leader at the U.S. Open after a brilliant 67.
The only other golfer we've spent any time with is leading the pack at the big tournament because Shooter McGavin. I mean, convenience.
The Antichrist shoots 67.
I feel like the Antichrist would always shoot 69. Also, it's wild that you were here specifically because you thought winning this tournament would make Molly like you more, but you haven't played in a tournament in 10 years, and David Sims plays in one every week. The audacity you have, thinking you could show up and f***ing win the U.S. Open. Honestly, you have more hubris than f***ing Custer, dude.
Can you people not see that I'm busy?
David was not this big of an asshole at any time prior to this, nor will he be one anytime after this, but movie feels the need to have this random bit so we'll be more understanding of Molly falling for the lecherous Roy. And I'm still not understanding, movie.
Now, how in the world did a great ball striker like yourself, a legend, manage to put up an 83?
Well, I missed a 4-foot putt on 18 for an 82.
So the scoreboard shows that Roy got a par 5 on 18, but when Roy hits the water on 18 in the third round, Jim Nance says,
Found the water for the third straight day.
This means that Roy didn't get it to the green in 2 shots on day 1 and also took a penalty stroke. So if he missed the putt after his approach shot post-penalty, then at best he would have had a 6, not a 5 on the 18th hole. Movie doesn't golf math correctly.
Out the patio, into the river.
To prove her love to Roy, she creates an absolutely impossible challenge for Roy to beat, and bets David on it. And it's really f***ing weird. All she really needs to do is tell David it's over and tell Roy it's on. But instead, she does this triple salchow of new girlfriend maneuvers. Thankfully, he nails the shot, but imagine the rest of this movie if he hits Gary McCord in the teeth instead. Also, she literally says, out the patio, into the water, and then goes on to describe a shot that doesn't touch the river until it's crossed it and hit a wooden post and scared a pelican off said post. Then the ball is allowed to fall into the river. I'm guessing she just botched the line, but it was the best overall take and they went with it. But she's currently suggesting that Roy can make a ball go underwater and then come back up above water on a sharp angle to hit a post and scare a bird. And not only is that impossible, it's not what happens. Also, after dumping David in the bar and winning the bet against him 5 minutes later, Molly is now ready to Roy for some reason, as opposed to just starting to date him. They had 2 quick-ass golf lessons, a quick-ass therapy session, she caught him with bogus golf gear, and now they're having sex. And listen, I've had sex with people I knew less than either of these people know each other. I'm not here to sin the one-night stand, but this movie is suggesting this is true love, and I deride that notion. I deride it greatly. TV is showing a NASCAR race, but no major NASCAR race would be on Thursday, which is when day 1 of the US Open would take place. Having sex comfortably in an RV while making the other RV resident pace outside in the rain. This is the most asshole move Roy makes in the entire film. Let Romeo sleep in peace and outside in the rain, or just wait and do the sex another time. I think if my best friend was outside my bedroom window while I was having sex and banged on it, and then I banged on it back at him, I don't know for sure, but I think that whole thing might cost me my boner. Man, what is up with Rene Russo playing women who get swept off their feet by washed-up athletes, and Mel Gibson? Really more curious about the Mel Gibson thing.
You know, somebody said golf and sex are the only 2 things you don't have to be good at to enjoy.
That person obviously never played golf. They have sex with Romeo pacing outside in the rain, then during pillow talk, they get horny and have sex again. And honestly, this is so rude, I'm giving it 50 cents. So you're in love now. Great. Say I had sex. Great. Go to bed, my God. You have to golf tomorrow, you moron.
But the real story today, Kenny, involves a driving range pro from Texas.
A driving range pro who shot 11 over yesterday and then today shoots 10 under, almost like he's the main character or something.
Who's McAvoy?
McAvoy.
Everyone is acting like no one has a clue who Roy is, even though Gary McCord, one of the on-air talents at the Open, talked him up at Sim's charity event.
This impending disaster's a driving range pro. His name is Roy McAvoy. Everybody calls him Tin Cup.
I feel like some people would know who he is, and McCord would have definitely given some insight earlier in the day. Knowing nothing about golf, Roy's new girlfriend as of the last 12 hours tells him to go for the green, and so he does. And of course, the ball goes into the water.
Plus, if the boys in Salome were in town, this is where they'd be.
And at exactly that moment, the boys from Salome walk in, and you lose points when you do like this, movie.
Doesn't get much better than this.
It does. It's called Bull Durham. Asking for another ball from 240 plus instead of just walking down to the drop area like a sane golfer. Honestly, this movie hinges on Roy being so stubborn he can't help himself. But all 3 of the first rounds, when he hits this second shot on 18 into the water, he does actually help himself and not hit it again from the same location. Apparently, he can only make the same choice 3 times, but the 4th puts him over the edge.
You think a guy like me bothers to worry about the percentages?
I mean, if you want to win the US Open, you probably should. Based on this banner, the movie would have us believe that CBS is broadcasting the US Open. But in 1996, NBC would have been the broadcasting partner. And CBS, as of 2025, has actually never broadcast the Open. It's odd that Sims cruised to a day 1 lead of 5 under, but here on the 4th day is only 7 under. That might make sense on a US Open course set to the hardest setting and designed to punish all golfers, but Tin Cup just shot a 10 under course record. So it can't be that. This movie is more obsessed with making sure you know Kevin Costner is actually a good golfer than it is in making sure the movie itself makes any sense.
$50 says I knock it on from here with a 7-iron.
Seriously, how is it not a penalty to bet on yourself during the tournament? Gary is paying off the bet they just made.
$50 says I knock it on from here with a 7-iron. On the green? Right on the green.
But Roy technically knocks it right outside the green, so Roy should be paying Gary.
Maybe the shot, though, that does get him right back on track here in this final round.
It could erase that double bogey at 1.
But how? Even if Roy sinks the next shot, he's at par, which means it would erase absolutely nothing. He'd still be at 2 over for the round. He makes this putt, but holy shit, he rammed that in. He is so lucky.
Doreen, how did he get the name Tin Cup?
Oh, he was the catcher on the high school baseball team.
It's like the movie is trying to create Bull Durham Tin Cup fan fiction that none of us wanted. Also, the nickname has nothing to do with golf. Can't figure out if that's a good or bad thing. But it seems kind of pointless to center the movie around it.
It's hard to believe a guy named Tin Cup might have his name beneath mine on the trophy.
Well, they'll carve his real name on the trophy, not Tin Cup. You do know that, right?
So Birdie wins it.
Birdie wins it.
It's weird that these two have conversations like this when they both know Roy is going to go for the green in 2 to try for eagle for the 4th day in a row. Roy's first attempt to make the green in 2 absolutely works, and that ball is on the green if we are not watching a movie. But unfortunately, because we are in a movie, the film tilts the green obscenely and forces the otherwise perfectly awesome approach shot into the water. Lucky shot finally ends this overlong movie. Gaia comes out of the water with a golf ball like he struck gold, but how would he even possibly know that's Roy's ball? There's no telling how many golf balls are down there, including all the previous ones Roy hit in there over the course of the tournament.
That was incredible!
It was not.
Sure, I always got time for my fans, darling.
Aww, yeah. At least this is a relationship in this movie that kind of makes sense, but it's also still a movie that has time for this moment, so my hands are tied.
Do you know that by finishing in the top 15 at the Open, you qualified to be in it next year?
Really?
How did he not know that?
You stupid. Oh, man. You don't get to rush this.
Tommy, how's the peeping?
Ladies see the ring, they know immediately you must have some cash and your cock must work.
Well, you tell Tin Cup that I'm in town for my big charity best ball tournament.
I'm not gonna do it without you, partner.
I wouldn't even pass the drug screen, man. I'm high most of the time.
Man, you are having a bad week, aren't you?
This is a crazy town, Emmett. I think we ought to just get out of here. I mean, all I did was kiss a girl.
And I found myself wondering what color her underpants might be. Her panties.
Anybody want to bet me I can't par in with a 7-iron?
I bet you slice into the woods $100.
If you build it, he will come.
In order to manage risk, we must first understand risk.
Jim, I gotta tell you.
Come on, JT.
That's your home! Are you too good for your home?